Eddie, I have to say, I get to visit our facilities a lot, very lucky, and I love visiting 4670. You can feel the history there, truly a special experience. We are still in a hold at this time, but we'll be right back. We remain in a hold in our countdown today to make sure everything is ready to fly. While we have a moment, let's talk some more about safety, of course, our #1 priority at Blue Origin.
All in all, Jackie, safety drives everything we do at Blue Origin. There's nobody on Team Blue who does a better job of elegantly communicating this than Blue Origin's Director of System Safety Engineering, Andrew Lake.
Andrew, you have such an important role at Blue Origin. So at Blue, when we say safety is a top priority, what does that mean?
Yeah, it's interesting, this idea of safety as a priority. And there are a lot of ways to think about this, but I see safety more as a core value that you build a business around. And a business like what we were thinking about for New Shepard and what Blue is doing in general is animated around this idea of safe and reliable systems.
So New Shepard went through this extensive test program, right? And we flew for what, 5, 6 years before we put people on board. How do you know that you're done
In a certain sense,
instilling safety into both the vehicle and the how it operates?
yeah, there are a couple ways you kind of go about it. The first thing you have to do is you have to set goals, safety performance goals, safety performance thresholds, to help you understand when you've met those thresholds. But in any program, you're never really done. You always want to look for opportunities to improve the system, both operationally, both for safety, both for reliability as well. And so we always have to maintain a humility that comes with flying rockets with these kinds of energies involved. And so we, and the ops team that we're about to go fly this mission, I've never seen a team more diligent, more patient, and the constant awareness and the vigilance required to say, raise issues and make sure they're addressed before we decide that it's time to fly people.
It's taken a team of people to get to this point, to be flying people on New Shepard. What would you say to this team?
I'm humbled to work with this team. It would be lying to say that 3 people who happen to have voted as part of a much larger tech for human flight certification are the people who decided that we're safe enough. Hundreds of people have put their blood, sweat, and tears into this program. Each of them just immensely individually focused on not just the safety of the system, but the reliability of the system. And then there is the work that our team does to kind of partner with them to help them achieve these goals. I am immensely grateful for the opportunity to work with them, and I'm humbled to have an opportunity to kind of lead the safety mission assurance efforts with this team.
Well, tell me this. Would you fly on New Shepard?
I would, and let me just say this.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people at Blue that would be excited to fly New Shepard, and I'm happy to count myself as one of them. It's a fantastic system. It's a very robust system. And yeah, if I ever had the opportunity to fly, I'll wink a little bit at the folks making these decisions. I would be super excited.
Fantastic. Well, I hope we get to go one day.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew Lake, for that incredible discussion of New Shepard's safety systems with backups and backup to the backups, and even in some cases, backup to the backup to the backup. We are still in a hold, as you can see from the screen, so we're gonna enjoy some shots of the New Shepard rocket in the West Texas desert.
While we have a moment here, let's talk about New Glenn, our orbital program. Recently, we performed an incredible separation test on the world's largest fairing for our New Glenn rocket.
We're here at NASA's Armstrong Test Facility in Sandusky, Ohio. We took the fairing from New Glenn, the world's largest fairing, to the world's largest vacuum chamber. It's the only place in the world that we can test out this fairing in an environment similar to what the rocket will be seeing in space.
Payload fairing is the nose of the rocket. Inside there is the satellite. The payload fairing's job is to protect the satellite as we ascend through the atmosphere.
This is the largest structure that has ever been tested here. The New Glenn fairing is 72 feet tall. So when we put that on top of the 26-foot test stand, we're taking up 98 feet of vertical space in the 120-foot chamber.
This jettison test is a huge milestone for us.
We'll be firing ordnance that will separate the fairing within the chamber. When it separates, the fairing is going to create this huge breathing motion, and we want to make sure the edges aren't going to come in and hit the payload.
This test is important because it helps us qualify the payload fairing and prove out that we actually do separate as designed. So we'll be looking at things like deflections and stresses.
We have done a lot of component level verification. This is really the culmination of putting all those things together.
All cameras are up and awaiting trigger.
And it's gonna all happen in a split second.
Firing in 3, 2, 1, fire.
It separated as expected. We collected a lot of really good data. After this first shot, we're going to test again. And once that is successful, we say, yes, the fairing is good to go.
It is so amazing, Eddie, to see New Glenn hardware in test. These moments are so incredible along this road to space, and it's very special. I'm going to say something nerdy and lame, Eddie. It's very special to be testing New Glenn at NASA Glenn.
That's right.
We love that. We do remain in a hold here to make sure all systems are go for today's launch, but we'll be right back. We remain in a hold here while Mission Control ensures that all systems are a go for launch. While we wait, let's talk about an exciting new project at Blue Origin, Orbital Reef. Blue Origin, in partnership with Sierra Space, is developing Orbital Reef, a commercially owned and operated space station to be built in low Earth orbit. The Orbital Reef team includes Boeing, Redwire, Genesis Engineering, Amazon, Amazon Web Services, and Arizona State University, which brings proven capabilities and new visions to provide key elements and services, including unique experience from building and operating the International Space Station. Let's take a look.
There have been dreams for a very long time of robust commercial activities in space with growing populations and so forth. Now we have access to systems that cost less to launch and land, and we now understand how to build destination systems that last for a long time. It's the commercial world in which advanced capabilities get normalized and become a part of everyday life. Orbital Reef is a full-fledged commercial space station.
Think of it as a village. Think of it as many different organizations and people in their own parts of Orbital Reef doing their own activities.
Where all types of companies can come together and do research and/or production, and also provide opportunities for tourists to come and just experience what space is like.
It's an ecosystem that will allow ideas to grow, to germinate, whole new fields and areas of economic arena, new science that we can't even imagine now.
Orbital Reef starts with two strategic partners, Blue Origin and Sierra Space. These two together have the fundamental elements that give us both transportation of cargo and crew and the destination system essentials. In addition, we have a set of expert teammates, which includes Boeing, who will be developing our research module.
We'll be providing crew and cargo transportation with the Starliner, and when the Orbital Reef is operational, we'll provide all of the operations and maintenance necessary to sustain the Orbital Reef.
Genesis, who are developing the single-person spacecraft for suitless extravehicular activity.
ASU is going to bring together this international group of 14 universities to work with Orbital Reef on the ethics and guidelines of research, on how we can bring to bear all of our expertise.
And Redwire, who provide in-space manufacturing.
Leveraging the microgravity environment to push new science, new discoveries, and new commercial applications.
We're working very hard to make sure that Orbital Reef is not just for the entities that have had access to space so far. It's intended to be humanity's footprint in Earth orbit, and that means all the nations and companies and peoples of the world.
I think that Orbital Reef offers us an opportunity at this point in history to really approach the next frontier as humans and to expand beyond the surface of the planet.
Maybe there's a company that wants to manufacture materials in space. Maybe there's a school that wants to send an experiment up. Maybe there's a nation that's ready to send someone into low Earth orbit to inspire their entire nation.
It's limitless, the implications of microgravity research, development, and manufacturing. Every aspect of our life, of industry, of science, will be impacted by the discoveries that we make on Orbital Reef.
This unique environment that's only a couple of hundred miles away from us is both transformative and accessible. It's incredibly exciting.
Our team is absolutely honored and thrilled to have received an award from NASA to continue advancing our Orbital Reef partners alongside our teammates. We actually at Blue Origin do have a lot of great experience with conducting this kind of microgravity research. Eddie, New Shepard has really been the test bed for this at Blue Origin. Can you tell us about that?
I'd love to, Jackie. We've got an incredibly capable payload integration management team that has flown over 11 successful payload flights on New Shepard, getting these researchers 180 seconds of microgravity and just advancing science as we know it. So kudos to them, and I'm just so proud of them, Jackie.
I am as well, Eddie. With that, let's take a quick breather and we'll be right back. Thank you for joining us for our 4th human flight, and thank you for sticking with us throughout this hold. I spoke with our flight director, Nick Patrick, earlier this week, and as you know, holds are, of course, a completely normal part of our launch process. Safety, as we've said multiple times on today's webcast, is always the #1 priority at Blue Origin, so we need to continue to take this time to do those checks and make sure this mission is ready for launch today. Stay tuned. Thank you for joining us for our 4th human flight. As you may have seen on your screen, we did release the hold on the countdown clock. We're at T-minus 9 minutes and 30 seconds until our 4th human flight. Let's toss it to the rocket and stand by for mission control.
All stations, this is the flight director on Channel 1 and UHF voice for the go pull for terminal count and launch. Capsule.
Go.
Booster.
Go.
Ground. Go. Safety. Capcom.
Go.
Engineering. Go. Copy, all goes. This is flight director. New Shepard is go for launch. Booster, commence the terminal count.
We'll go flight.
As you just heard, we are go for launch for our 4th human flight. We're so excited for the Roaring 20s crew. Let's take a moment and take in the sights and sounds from Launch Site 1 as the minutes tick down on the launch clock here in West Texas. Okay, as we tick down to launch, Eddie, can you take us through today's New Shepard flight profile?
I'd love to, Jackie. So at T-minus 2.5 minutes, we effectively hand control over to our auto sequence. The flight controllers are essentially hands off. The rocket then gets ready to light the BE-3. Ignition happens at T0, followed by bootstrap and throttle up. Liftoff occurs at T+7 seconds, and that BE-3 engine powers the New Shepard vehicle through the atmosphere. Just before 1 minute, the vehicle reaches max Q, that's maximum dynamic pressure, the point of maximum stress for the structure. At 2 minutes, that main engine shuts off. We call that MECO, and at 2.5 minutes, the New Shepard vehicles separate into 2, and the astronauts are free to float about the cabin. The PM reaches apogee at 4 minutes and starts to re-enter the atmosphere due to Earth's gravity. The fins steer back to the landing pad. The drag brakes deploy. The engine restarts for a nice, soft landing. Meanwhile, the astronauts were able to enjoy some microgravity time because the gumdrop shape of the capsule was much slower to re-enter. As that capsule pierces the atmosphere, we see drogues, we see mains, and shortly thereafter, the terminal deceleration system that causes the capsule to land on a cushion of air, that poof of dust. Touchdown, welcome back, astronauts. I'm so excited.
Thanks, Eddie. We're just about T-minus 5 minutes until liftoff. The 6 people on that live rocket are getting close to launching to space. Let's check in with them on the pad. We're just under T-minus 4 minutes to launch of the Roaring 20s crew. Eddie, you've been so lucky to be down here in West Texas for many a launch. What's happening across Launch Site 1 at this point when we're so close to liftoff?
Well, Jackie, it all starts at Mission Control. They are focused with final preparations, and it's a laser focus. They are there working through their steps, making sure that their systems are ready for launch. And we're just moments away from that here. Those bit checks, like we mentioned, will start at 2.5 minutes.
And the cool thing about those final checks, I mean, our crew is on board. They're feeling, they're hearing this living rocket. Just truly such an exciting moment for them.
Absolutely, that rocket is alive on the launch pad.
Thank you for joining us. As you've noticed, we've just entered what we expect to be a very brief hold here, just a few minutes. Stay tuned. Okay, that hold has been cleared. We're at about 3 minutes until launch. We understand the Roaring 20s, all 6 astronauts on board our 4th human flight are ready to go. Let's watch and listen as New Shepard goes through those final checks and revs up for today's flight.
And Jackie, as we mentioned, we've now entered auto sequence, so this rocket is going to automatically prep itself for launch. I can't wait to see what shows on our screen as the rocket prepares for liftoff. With just under 90 seconds to go, those aft fins at the base are actuating, going through their bit checks. They provide control authority for the vehicle on ascent and descent. At the same time, we should be able to see the engine nozzle gimbal. It will help maneuver the rocket as its primary form of control. We've entered a brief hold in that final countdown. Our teams will assess. We'll be right back.
That hold has been released. We're at about T-minus 1 minute to liftoff. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to launch this rocket. Godspeed, New Shepard. Godspeed to our crew. We're handing it over to Mission Control.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Command engine start. 2, 1, 0. Ignition. And liftoff. Shepard's cleared the tower.
And liftoff. Mission Control has confirmed New Shepard has cleared the tower and is on its way to space with our 4th human flight crew.
Godspeed, New Shepard. Godspeed, the Roaring 20s. Enjoy this ride.
You can see on the lower left-hand side of your screen, we are gaining
Team
speed
5,000
as
feet.
New Shepard lifts off towards space.
Ten 10,000 feet.
That beautiful burn on that BE-3 engine, lifting New Shepard towards space.
As we hit T plus 55 seconds, we will enter max Q, the point where aerodynamic stress on the vehicle is at its maximum. We just confirmed max Q, and that BE-3 engine doing some work, 8,000 horsepower equivalent of it, to produce 110,000 pounds of thrust on its way to space. We have a beautiful shot of the BE-3 engine there and its colorless exhaust. That's what happens when you mix liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen. That is steam powering the rocket all the way up to the top. Here in 20 seconds, the BE-3 will throttle back, shut down, and will reach main engine cutoff. Stay tuned. There it is. Miko, way to go, BE-3. Thank you for powering our astronauts to space.
That was our main engine cutoff. Shortly here, we'll see separation of the crew capsule and the booster. At this point, our Capcom Kevin Sprogg will momentarily cue the astronauts to unbuckle their harnesses and start floating around the capsule. Welcome to Zero Gravity, Gary Lai and crew of the Roaring 20s. Beautiful shot there of the two separate craft. George Neal, Sharon and Mark Hagel, Jim Kitchen, Marty Allen, and Gary Lai. Welcome to Zero G. Let's listen in as they float about the crew capsule.
What? What? All right.
First step, Blue Control. This is your 1 minute warning. 1 minute warning.
Congratulations to all 6 crew. They crossed that Kármán line. They just officially became astronauts. Absolutely outstanding. You heard that audio online from Kevin Sprogge, our capsule communicator, telling our crew, I'm sure they're having an amazing time up there, but they have to start getting ready to buckle back in. Shortly here, both the crew capsule and the booster will be descending.
That's right, Jackie. So unofficial numbers, but we saw an apogee of 351,000 feet. So definitely well into the Kármán line, well into space. Congratulations, astronauts. The rocket is now reaching, this is the booster portion of New Shepard, is reaching its atmospheric pierce point. It's returning from space. Those control surfaces, those wedge fins, those actuated aft fins are now starting to have a little bit of air resistance to push against. The booster will reach its maximum re-entry velocity, which is just under Mach 4. That's 4 times the speed of sound. And it's an incredible booster shape coming back down over the West Texas desert against those Texas blue skies. This is the fun part. The wedge fins, the steering fins, the ring fin, all earning their keep at this point. Really doing some work to bring that propulsion module over the landing pad. What an incredible sight out there. Here shortly, we'll see the air brakes deploy that will cut the velocity of the booster in half. There it is. This is a critical step in slowing the vehicle down before the BE-3 engine is reignited for the final portion of the descent. We had a sonic boom. Man, was that incredible. I love hearing that sound. And the BE-3 engine relights for the final portion of the descent. Touchdown, New Shepard. Welcome back to Earth. What an incredible feat of engineering required to bring this rocket back safely, reuse it. All I can ever say, Jackie, is wow.
Wow, Eddie, truly, no matter how many times we've seen this happen, a live booster landing onto that landing pad will take your breath away. And I have to say, Eddie, the char on the side of that New Shepard booster, there's nothing like it.
Right above that feather looks like, and we see, of course, the New Shepard propulsion module beginning to dump some of the excess propellants. That's a key step for our reusable booster. We'll vent the tanks, we will inert them. That'll maintain the cleanliness throughout and allow that booster to turn around and fly again. We've got a great shot there of the capsule.
There go the drogue parachutes they've deployed on our crew capsule to slow it down. And there go those main parachutes. Those 3 mains will slowly inflate to help slow down the return of the crew capsule. While the parachutes are, of course, essential to provide a gentle touchdown for the crew capsule, New Shepard also has that innovative retro thrust system to make our touchdown even smoother for the Roaring '20s crew flying today. From the blackness of space to the beautiful West Texas desert, our crew is getting an experience right now.
That was a quick 10 minutes. Get ready for the ground rush.
First step, Blue Control. Stand by touchdown. Stand by touchdown.
Woo! Crew capsule touchdown. Welcome back, the Roaring 20s and astronaut Gary Lai.
That sounds like some happy crew members there. From the sounds of it, maybe all landed back safely and are doing great. We'll get confirmation from Mission Control here shortly.
What a beautiful shot of that booster and capsule in the West Texas desert for what looks like a wholly successful fourth human flight. That West Texas does kick up there for our crew, welcoming them back to Earth. At this point in the mission, our team is preparing landing safety operations and recovery of our astronauts from the crew capsule. We'll be on the ground at the landing site to follow that action in just a bit. And hopefully, Eddie,
hopefully.
talk to some of the world's newest official astronauts. Waves from our crew members looking great back here on Earth through those beautiful windows on New Shepard.
And live footage of 2 reusable spacecraft next to each other. What an accomplishment. Congratulations, Roaring 20s. Congratulations, Team Blue. What a day today.
Just a truly incredible moment. Our astronauts have returned home safely. Our crew team is on the way out to recover them from the capsule. Wow. What a day.
As we've mentioned, it appears to be a safe launch and landing, so absolutely kudos, congratulations to the mission team and Mission Control for really pushing through it, staying determined on that long-term vision of flying people to space today.
Mission Control has officially confirmed, I think we can see it from the windows, but they've officially confirmed they've spoken with all 6 of our astronauts and they are doing great. Our crew has put the roaring in New Shepard 20. I think it is safe to say here today, Eddie, absolutely